So, dear ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our initial 2020 SME Banking Awards presented to you by Efma and Mastercard. At Efma, we are very pleased and proud that despite the critical year we were all facing, obviously, in 2020, we have found a way to deliver this initiative to you and together with our main partner, Mastercard, to celebrate the success achieved by selected individuals and institutions in SME banking space globally. Now, before I pass the word to our key speakers and winners, let me shortly guide you through our two-day ceremony and an agenda. So after a short welcome words, either on my side or our CEO, John Berry, and our main and key partner, Mastercard, we'll go straight to the first category, which was SME Banker of the Year 2020. After announcing the winners who won the bronze, silver, and the gold award this year, we'll go to a keynote speaker who we brought to you not just to celebrate the winners, but at the same time to bring you some inspirational insights out of the industry. So we'll have a special guest, Connie Leong from Microsoft, who will present some more insights on innovation and technology, how important and how must-haves it is in today's world, and what Microsoft has been doing within the last years, but especially as well in 2020, to support the SMEs overcome such circumstances and difficult situation that we are all facing. We'll go afterwards to the second category, announcing the best banks selected by you and all the jury members across the world in the category of SME Bank of the Year 2020 in supporting SMEs in a time of crisis. And we'll somehow conclude the whole awards ceremony by the panel discussion where we brought two speakers for you, CEO of Mox Bank, Dennis Guven, and Deputy CEO of TBC Bank Georgia, Nika Kurdiani, who will bring to you a good stories of the journey that they haven't probably in the beginning predicted, but how is it really to start and to initiate a challenger bank by your institution, driving either in SME or even personal banking space. Now, without any further ado, let me introduce you to our first speaker. And as many of you might know, Efma has undergone a huge transformation in 2020 to better meet the needs of our members and the global financial industry. With the beginning of 2020, there is a new chapter that already begins, and hence it's my huge pleasure to welcome here with us our Efma CEO, John Berry, who was only appointed in April last year and initiated this whole process of the new Efma. So John, we are all glad to have you with us for this ceremony, and so we would be very happy to hear some of the introductory words on your behalf and on behalf of Efma, obviously. John, I guess you are muted, so please unmute yourself.
As we find out, this damn technology can drive us bananas. But I'm delighted that we've been able to put on this particular event. The work by Lucas and his team has been superb, along with Mastercard, in putting together this event. The last year has been quite remarkable. COVID has had such a huge impact on us as individuals, as well as our customers that we deal with in so many parts of our business on a day-to-day basis. I think what's been remarkable is how the industry itself has really responded, though, in terms of innovation into this particular SME segment. I've spent a lot of time during the last 12 months talking with senior bankers around the globe. And I suppose the one subject that probably crops up more than anything else is the subject of SMEs, how they can assist, how they can innovate to assist those individuals, those organizations, not only for the benefit of the individuals themselves, but also for the individuals' business, their customers, and of course for the bank. So it's really great that we got an opportunity of recognizing some of the great innovations that have been going on around the globe. This whole SME environment is one which Lucas has been leading now for some significant time, and it really is superb. I think in my conversations with senior bankers, I would put our work on SMEs ahead of anywhere else that I see in other organizations globally. And I think that's a reflection of the contribution not only from Lucas and the team, but also from contributions from Mastercard, but also from you as our clients, you as our members, you as individuals who have really supported us through these difficult times. So to be able to celebrate this in such a novel way, away from the normal physical environment, is a great opportunity, and I'm looking forward to seeing who the magic names are that come out of the hat when we announce the winners later on. So enjoy the rest of the time together. Look forward to seeing the winners and hearing from our great speakers we have lined up as well.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, John, for your introductory words. And as mentioned earlier, since this is not only Efma's own initiative, but a joint collaboration with our friends and partners from Mastercard, let me ask Marcus O'Toole, Vice President Product Management Small Business Segment in Europe, to share some of the introductory words on their behalf, on the reasons why Mastercard stepped into these partnerships and why do they believe in SME, and even these type of initiatives that can really help probably trigger a better future for the SME customers. So Marcus?
Thank you, Lucas, and thank you very much, John, as well, for the invitation and to be part of this fantastic initiative with Efma. We've all experienced some challenges. We've all experienced the upheaval of the past 12 months. And as John has said, it's very, very insightful and great to be able to be here today and celebrating what we have seen as an organization as well, right across the globe. Fantastic innovation, fantastic focus on ensuring that we can actually help and support what is a very, very important segment for Mastercard, for everybody as we look forward. So what's our approach, as Lucas has said, and what is Mastercard trying to do to help and support you? Today, we all know is a very, very different day to yesterday and how we all went about doing our business and transacted and doing our business. But it's even more important for small business owners. What COVID-19 has really done is it really amplified the challenges and the needs that small business have faced for years. But it has also emphasized the real need for them to embrace all things digital and establish a very strong presence in this space. We've all known our local small businesses who can actually have their bricks and mortar we can go to. But with a lot of the lockdowns in a lot of our countries across the globe, we've had to then go and refocus and help and support them in getting into that digital era, targeting their customers and focusing on how we can keep their businesses open. Why is small business really important? It has a massive impact on our overall global economy. They represent over 90% of all businesses. They employ roughly 70% of all workers globally, and they deliver up to half of the overall GDP. So when we look at small businesses and SMEs, there's nothing really small about them when you see the impact that they have. So what is Mastercard doing to try and enable, to try and support, and to make sure that these small businesses survive and keep moving forward? We're looking to leverage our innovation and our solutions, looking very much beyond just pure card payments, to help you, our partners, to support the small and medium businesses, to get paid faster, to get capital, and to also go digital. But we also want to make sure in everything that we do, they're able to do that in a safe and secure manner, wherever they are. Our main focus is very much enabling businesses to survive and to thrive stronger than before. And that for us means empowering every single business, every single where in the world. We keep on hearing about all the needs of small businesses, all the needs of our partners. But Mastercard's approach is very much a customer-centric approach to meet the critical needs of our distribution partners and their small business communities. As a business strive to recreate their business in a new normal, Mastercard is addressing pain points around slow and inefficient payments, how we can actually limit access to working capital, and lack of digitization. This is moving at pace due to a lot of fintech providers coming in and technology and open banking capabilities. And if I may just give a couple of examples of what we mean here. We're looking at the technology and the rising forms of tap on phone capabilities to turn your Android device into an acceptance solution. Again, enabling small business to be able to accept their payments faster in a more streamlined means. We're also working on how can we help them to be able to have access through digitization of e-invoicing and capturing payments faster there, whether that be leveraging Mastercard Send or Pay by Bank capabilities that we have in some of our markets around the world. But our aim is not just to ensure we have a protected and secured small businesses during the accelerated shift to digital, propelled mainly due to the past 12 months in the pandemic. When we look at that, 43% of all data breaches targeting small businesses, we provided them with insights, tools, solutions they need to secure their interactions, and also benefit from participation in the exploding ecosystem. But what do we mean by all of that? Being able to provide My Cyber Risk solutions, which proactively monitors the cyber environment of any entity with the online presence to identify cyber risks. Again, making sure small businesses are protected. ID theft protection also. Again, making sure that we're supporting small businesses, because any of these breaches could effectively put a small business completely out and not be able to continue. But these are all our core value propositions that Mastercard are looking to bring in and how we're going to try and drive forward. We've started to see, as I said, a rise in fintech. We're starting to see a rise in a lot of more areas who are focusing on it. And Mastercard's main aim is also a lot broader than just our core payments. It's also about forging strong partnerships with banks, trusted partners, and governments. And we see this as an imperative to ensure collectively we help small business to continue to serve our local communities into the future and beyond. In doing so, we're providing greater access to our broader set of solutions, both Mastercard and partners, that have long been the domain of larger corporations in building commercially sustainable and scalable socially impacted products and programs for small businesses. An example of this is through one of our partners in Europe, Visita. We offer an education and a timely insight solution to help them secure and navigate their path to digitization and how they're actually getting their business and bringing that online. We work very, very closely with governments to provide government-to-business payments, again, enabling faster and safer disbursements of grants and funding that's available to small businesses. So again, really trying to broaden out and look at the overall ecosystem. Because as I have said, and we keep on seeing time and time again, small businesses are a huge driver of our local and economies. Our partnership with Efma and its members has allowed us to gain greater insights into the important segment and hear all of the amazing innovation, drive and commitment that is being invested daily. But we wanted to look for ways to acknowledge the teams and individuals who have made this happen, which leads us into today's award ceremony. And with our collective passions, drive, focus, small businesses are very lucky and in safe hands, but we must ensure we continue to focus and deliver on our commitments and supporting them as we go forward. Congratulations to all of the nominations, the winners, and we look forward to continuing our journey together in supporting small businesses as we go and move forward. Thank you for the partnership, Efma, and thank you to everybody on the line for your partnership as well. And we look forward to working closely as we move forward into 2021. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marcus. Wonderful insights that actually you shared as well on behalf of MasterCard, and what a transformation journey you took as well, just to be more ready probably to serve the needs and as well the expectations of not just the your banking partners, but at the same time the SME clients in the new normal. Now I can understand that many of you cannot wait to learn the winners in the two categories that we created and designed in 2020 edition. But right before that, let me shortly present you the journey that brought us all here. So last year, sometimes in January, February, we decided that it's time to launch the very first community-based approach at Efma for our strong SME banking community. So we decided to launch SME banking program as the first one, and as an initial even year to start this journey. We all know what came in March and what actually influenced all the business that Efma was doing. But we still found a way on how to transfer many of those initiatives online and how to deliver to most of you in all parts of the world different types of insights or even the platforms to share and exchange best practices. As an obvious kind of choice in the very beginning of these initiatives, we decided that there should be, and each successful community needs to have a benchmark. And that benchmark can be created very easily by creating the SME Banking Awards, which might be perceived as an easy journey to do, and an easy initiative, obviously, to announce or to select the winners. But I can really share with you, it's been a really difficult journey, especially to select only the top 3 winners in both categories. We have received wonderful submissions and nominations from all of the bankers and institutions who were eager to help SMEs in time of 2020, but at the same time before, to set up even the ground to be ready for such a situation and such atmosphere that happened in 2020. So the 2020 SME Banking Awards is for us a kind of an obvious step, an obvious closure summary of all the program initiatives that we did in 2020. And we hope to continue this journey starting from March, even for the next year. What has happened in 2020 edition is, as you can see in front of you, we have defined 2 categories. So the SME Banker and the SME Bank of the Year. In these two categories, we had 19 nominees in total, where they were divided in 7 nominees in the first category, SME Banker of the Year, and 12 in the Bank of the Year category. We have received during the whole voting process more than 8,000 online votes. Some of them obviously hasn't been fulfilled in the right form. That's why we could count only the 8,000 that we received. But it's been a tremendous success, because what we expected was kind of humble approach to have 1,000 to 1,500 votes, up to 2,000 would be a great achievement. But having 8,000 of you and peers across the world from SME Banking to vote, to found their time and to evaluate the different applications, that was something that we really didn't count with, and want to thank to everyone who found the time even to share that something like this is organized by Efma and Mastercard. And last but not least, this whole process brought us to the 6 winners that are going to be presented to you with the 2 categories that I already mentioned. So here you can see all of them in front of you. These are the 7 nominees for the SME Banker of the Year and the 12 for the SME Bank of the Year. Going a bit more in details, there was the first phase of how we did the whole submission. So in the category of SME Banker of the Year, we have had, as I mentioned already, 7 nominees, which with each of them we created a short, let's say, podcast interview, which was between 20 to 25 minutes, just to speak a bit more about their personality, leadership style, SME approach, and some of the key initiatives and projects that have been taken by their institution to help SMEs. All of these 7 nominees were selected by a joint committee from Efma and Mastercard based on the bank's performance and based on what we have seen done by their institution in SME banking within the past years. Each of these has been published every month, starting from June 2020 until December. So each nominee per each month. In the category of SME Bank of the Year, we decided that since 2020 was a specialized year or a special year dedicated to the support of SMEs, that's how we called as well the category. So Bank of the Year in SME Banking, or SME Bank of the Year in supporting SMEs during the time of crisis. We have seen there 12 nominees and institutions that demonstrated compassion and provided crucial support to SME clients who were hit hard by the pandemic. Again, the selection was based on our joint nomination with Mastercard, and this time the form was written, interviews published on Efma website on a prepared question that were same for each and every institution, just to have the possibility to compare and obviously to select the winners. In the second phase, the voting phase, where many of you were already somehow engaged, I already mentioned that we have received more than 8,000 votes, but this phase went on starting 18th January until the end of January, where we had dedicated voting page, and each of the voter should choose top 3 in each category, not to favor only one of the nominee. The weight of the votes were divided into 2 parts. The first one, we received, as I mentioned, those online votes, which only counted for 50% of the final score of each of the nominee. The other 50% was dedicated or was created by a jury committee, to whom I would like to dedicate the next slide, and just recognize all their effort. Because what we try to do is to select people who we trust their opinion, who we trust their judgment. And the jury committee consisted of 16 individuals that came from 4 different realities. Some of them are still current senior bankers in their positions. Another 4 of them were representing consulting partners and consulting firms across the world. The biggest one is BCG, Bain & Company, Roland Berger, or even Oliver Wyman, if I'm not mistaken. At the same time, we had some of the senior bankers who were former board members in their institution, either in Turkey, Poland, or UK. But these days are more working on a senior level basis. And last but not least, we had the representation, obviously, of Mastercard and Efma. But in the whole committee, it's been only 4 people. And that's why we are very proud of the whole process, that all the winners that are going to be presented to you today have been selected based on the judgment, opinion, and insights of the experts that we really believe consist of some of those opinion makers that you can see in front of them. So once again, a huge thank you to all of them, jury committee members, but at the same time to all of you who found the time to evaluate all the nominations and select the 3 best applications on your best behalf. Now, I guess we are ready to go to the first category. So let's go straight to the first category that was already decided in the beginning of the year, that because there are, many awards that you can see elsewhere, but there are not many institutions that are really trying to appreciate the work of individuals. We believe that many times it's individuals who are driving the innovation spirit of the organizations, and those who can really lead the teams to change the way how a bank is operating. And that's why this is how this category was designed. So as I mentioned earlier, just to sum it up, we had 7 nominees. Each of the nominees was presented in a form of one-to-one interview via podcast, which was published on all possible streaming services. And until now, since the very beginning, we have seen more than 1,000 listenings to those podcasts, which means that those podcasts hasn't brought only the nomination of those individuals, but at the same time, we tried to combine it with a kind of interesting insights and information that you cannot find elsewhere, to have a real best practices sharing by the individuals leading those institutions in SME banking. So here there are the 7 nominees. We had the first one, Susan Davis, on behalf of Santander Bank UK, who was nominated in the month of June. Roy Chowdhury, based on his work in UOB, Singapore, who in the meantime has changed the position and left UOB into the next role in one of the neobank. Nika Kurdiani, who was a nominee in August as a deputy CEO of TBC Bank Georgia and as well a lead of SME Banking in the organization. Daylan Govender from Nedbank South Africa, who is not originally an SME banker, but from his role of heading the payments, was able to support the SMEs quite a lot on behalf of the institution of that bank. And I would say as well, an extraordinary approach that he did inside the institution. Lori Darlington, representing Royal Bank of Canada and as well North America, that we strongly believe that has as well showed one of the best results in the American region. Rohit Garg from Mashreq Bank, United Arab Emirates, as the only representative from the Middle East, and as well representing an institution which has constantly demonstrated a wonderful approach towards SMEs. And last but not least, presented in December was Rajeev Chalisgaonkar, who is leading the SME Global Business in Standard Chartered Bank. as one of the global footprint institutions that is not only operating in one, two, or few markets, but a lot more. So this has been our 7 nominees. Now the question is, who are the top 3 winners and the finalists that we have chosen for tonight? So without any further ado, let me present you the winners. So the SME Banker of the Year Bronze Award goes to Nika Kurdiani, Deputy CEO of TBC Bank Georgia.
Yes, thank you. It's a fantastic thing to be in the top 3. And I just was thinking what to say, and I just want to recall a story from back, I guess, 16 years ago when I first heard about Efma, and I was just a junior banker, basically starting at one of the Georgian banks. And my colleague was that time receiving your printed editions of Efma journals, and I was wondering, this should be something fantastic, being part of Efma. And then afterwards, when I started my work at Bank Austria in Austria, my colleague sitting next to me, who was delegate of Efma in Bank Austria, basically, and he was always telling me, why don't you join me on the event? So I remember even the first event when I was 25, basically being on Efma conference, it was a great thing, and I would never imagine that Efma would grant me this kind of award. So thanks a lot. It's a huge honor, and I'm very happy to be part of these fantastic people and fantastic institutions. TBC is the biggest bank in Georgia, but Georgia is a small country in Eastern Europe. So for us, it's a big honor. So thanks to the jury, thanks to you, and to the all people participating, because it's a big honor again for us and for me personally. Thanks a lot.
Congrats once again for the award. But we are not able right now to distribute the physical one, but you will definitely receive it after this virtual ceremony. You will receive a physical trophy that will be delivered directly to you. So hopefully you will enjoy that. Thank you so much for having you. Thank you so much for all your passion towards the SME banking and for being here not just as a banker, in your institution, but at the same time a huge support, a community member as well, I would say, in SME banking for Efma and the whole industry. Now, without any further ado, let's go to the Silver Award winner. And in the category of SME Banker of the Year, the Silver Award goes to Rajeev Chalisgaonkar from Standard Chartered Bank in Singapore. Rajeev, happy to have you as well on the call. Rajeev is, as I mentioned earlier, a global head of SME banking business or business banking in Standard Chartered Group. Rajeev, happy to have you and congrats for winning this award.
Thank you, Lucas. Thank you very much. I want to start by thanking both Efma and Mastercard for this honor. I'm really honored by this. I do want to say that I enjoyed the process. When I heard about the voting process, I found it a bit unusual, but unintended outcome of that was that so many friends, so many mentors and colleagues called me, spoke, and I spoke to many people I had not spoken to for many years. So I thank you for that as well. I'm looking at this as a recognition more of what Standard Chartered does across the more than 35 countries where we do this business across Africa, Middle East, and Asia. It kind of is a testimony to the commitment that this bank has shown to the SME segment over the last more than 100 years. But on a personal note, I do want to thank all my mentors, all my teachers, and above all, the people from whom I have learned the most, which is our SME clients. I do want to thank them profoundly for it. And knowing that the people who are on this call right now are most likely all SME bankers, I do want to share a few thoughts that this probably is the best time to be an SME banker, in the sense that a lot has changed, particularly in the last decade. There is so much more of data trails being created by SMEs. There is so much more of formalization of SMEs that is happening, led by the governments. And then there is digitization of the SMEs, which is driven by their end consumers. All this put together, and if you look at what's happened in the last 1 year, we as a bank have spent a lot of our energy in 2020 helping our clients deal with the impact of COVID. And what is clear is that this crisis has only accelerated the digital adoption by SMEs. So all these trends are coming together. And this is the time to innovate and use these trends to bring more and more of the unbanked and underbanked SMEs into the banking. So once again, thank you, Efma. Thank you, Mastercard. This is a great honor, and I deeply appreciate it. And thank you on behalf of Standard Chartered as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rajeev. It's been a wonderful journey, actually, that we put together with all the nominees. So I can very easily right now put myself in your shoes. You know, how was the process that all actually brought us here. So congrats again for our Silver Award winner in the SME Banker of the Year category. Now, without any further ado, let's celebrate the last person here, but probably on the highest place that could be placed in among the SME bankers and among the nominees that we had. So the Gold Award in SME Banker of the Year category goes to Lori Darlington from Royal Bank of Canada, who leads small business in business financial services strategy and partnerships directly in the Royal Bank of Canada, as I mentioned. Lori, we hope to have you as well on the line.
So on behalf of Royal Bank of Canada, thank you so much for the honor, and congratulations also to all of the other nominees. And also a big thank you to Efma and Mastercard. It's been such a rewarding journey over the last 6-7 months to be able to hear through the podcasts and see how so many people are focused on helping small businesses succeed, especially during this challenging time. When we were first notified I was nominated for this award, I took some time to reflect on all of the challenges we faced, but also the accomplishments delivered by all of my colleagues at RBC to help Canadian small business. As each of my fellow nominees also acknowledged through the interviews, the impact of small business on the global economy cannot be understated. SMEs are critical to the prosperity, innovative potential, and the health of all of our communities. I mentioned in my interview with Lucas that the ultimate purpose of RBC is to help clients thrive and communities prosper. To do that, we believe we need to do more than just help our customers store and borrow money. We need to help find ways for them to grow their business in a way that's resilient, sustainable, and that requires us to help support them across a broader spectrum of their entrepreneurial journey. We are always looking for ways to help them simplify the overwhelming process of starting a business, help them recruit and support their employees, and we need to make it easier with digital solutions so that they can spend more time with their customers. When we help our customers through those moments of truth beyond just the transactions, that's how we'll help create stronger businesses. And so on behalf of all of my colleagues at RBC, thank you again for this honor. It means a lot to be recognized for our commitment and support for Canadian small businesses and their owners. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Lori, for sharing some of your thoughts as well on behalf of yourself and the Royal Bank of Canada. Huge congrats to all the winners. And once again, just to recap them, we have actually one slide just to show you again and remind who were the 3 winners. So just to remind you, all 3 of them. The Bronze Award went to Nika Kurdiani, Deputy CEO of TBC Bank Georgia. The Silver Award went to, or still goes to, Rajeev Chalisgaonkar, leading a business banking at Standard Chartered Bank in Singapore. And the Gold Award went to Lori Darlington from Royal Bank of Canada. So once again, congrats to all the winners. We were really thrilled to have all the 7 nominees in this process, and we strongly believe that even though the other 4 hasn't been that successful as these 3, it's been still a tremendous achievement what they deserve to have based on being the nominees in this category. So congrats once again. This has been the first category, as I already mentioned, the category of SME Banker of the Year to demonstrate the power of individuals in SME banking. Now, as I mentioned in the very beginning, this award ceremony is not just about celebrating the winners, but as well to bring all of you a bit more insights on what's been happening as well within the last year, but as well what is the approach of some of the out-of-the-industry leaders in this respect. So we have brought for you a keynote speaker from Microsoft, Connie Leung, who is a senior director of Microsoft in Asia, regional business lead for Asia in worldwide financial services. And Connie has prepared for you some wonderful insights on innovation and technology, what and why it is a must-have in today's world, and what's the journey, what's the inputs of Microsoft into the SMEs and into the SME banking. So Connie, happy to have you. Can you hear us and can you see us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you well.
Hey.
Connie, welcome. I guess you have prepared for us a couple of slides that you want to share probably at the same time to support probably some of the insights and some of the content that you want to share with the global industry in SME banking.
Yes, thank you. Can you see my slide?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So first of all, thank you for having me, and also congratulations to all the SME Banker of the winners and also the nominees. I think they are amazing for our industries, particularly in the COVID. As you may can see on the background, we are still celebrating Chinese New Year. So may I also like to take this opportunity to wish you all a wonderful and auspicious, prosperous year of the ox. And may this year bring us prosperity, healthiness, and happiness to all of you. And I hope the COVID will really help us, with the vaccine and everything to recover from what we have gone through last year. I think 2020 has been an amazing and super challenging year for many of us, and many of us is experiencing a lot of first time and also first time event like this that we have to now pivot into virtual when we don't really have the physical interaction. So what I'd like to do in the next 15 minutes or so is to share with you what we've seen, how industries, particularly the financial services industry, how we have evolved, and where technology and innovation is now becoming a must-have than a nice to have to our industries. So I think the first thing is really from a technology provider perspective, Microsoft, we actually bring some of this disruption to the market. So technology has been, influx in our industries before COVID, and I think the likes of the APIs, data and AI, cloud technology, and blockchain actually help and also shape some of the disruptors like the new bank, also the fintechs, who's disrupting our market and really bring a lot of economy of scale. And I think our financial services industry has quickly pivoted into a race on technology adoption. Whoever adopt technology the fastest, the smartest, bring a lot of value to the customer seems to be winning the game. And I think those of us who actually have legacy seems to be suffering and being challenged. I think that's really what's happening to our market right now. I think the good news is while we have spent, from a Microsoft perspective, we spent the last 8 years really having a one-on-one conversation with our regulators, because I think for financial services industry, we are highly regulated. And by the time we actually wanted to adopt some of these nice new technology, we really need to have a modernization in the regulations to allow us to do that. So if you look at the bar on the right-hand side, you see there's a linear relationship where the modernization of regulations is happening on those countries listed. You see actually a escalation and also acceleration of cloud adoption, just from one of the technology. And I think what we have tried to do from an industry perspective is really to help regulators to understand what cloud technology brings to the market, what's the difference between traditional outsourcing and the cloud framework, and also how we actually secure and also encrypt and also protect our customers' data in terms of privacy. And if you see some of the flags there, we have been having a lot of global regulator summits. We also have regional regulator summits, and we now pivot into a virtual one because of COVID, but we have not stopped our dialogue with regulations and regulators. And I think you see a lot of, I would say in the whole globe, a lot of regulations have been really modernized for the use of our technology. And I think that unlocks our opportunity to innovate. And to some extent, I think because we've done that work, because the regulations have opened up, it actually helps us to weather through the COVID. I would say some of our customers has been telling us, like, if COVID has hit us 5 years ago, the whole world will be so different and we won't be able to weather it through with some of our leading institutions in the market. From a Microsoft perspective, the way we have seen our market evolving is really empowering intelligent banking. When it comes to intelligent banking, there are like different initiatives that, the innovations that our customers are going through. The earlier days, I would say, is very much into the differentiated customer experience. It's very easy and also more market value and also visible to be able to, empower your customers and also to pivot into digital, and also to be able to do some kind of a, more personalization, like using data and AI to really be able to offer products and in the moment, and also to be tailored. And also to harmonize all the channel, like the mobile channel, the physical branch channel, and also the call center, to be able to go and seamless experience with the customer on an omni-channel. So this is where earlier days, we've seen our customers pivoting and moving into the customer experience. But you really can't do that without modernizing your core or also doing your middle and back office. So we see actually quite a bit of payments and core banking transformation in that area, and also managing risk, particularly in the SME market and also on the credit. You want to look at alternative credit, you look at the different data elements, or you also wanted to have a faster processing time for, processing a loan or actually granting a loan as well. So I think we see those middle and back office pivoting. And then, of course, is the empowering your employees, because you really have to have a workforce that can work seamlessly and without really restructuring and reorganization the whole organization to be able to do that. So I think the collaboration of the employees is very important as well. And of course, we don't do it by ourselves. Microsoft rely heavily on our partners. So we actually, together with some of the system integrators, some of the application provider, we will be able to, provide the end-to-end solution for our market. And those are very well and set before COVID. But as we know, what happened with COVID is it actually becomes the primary forces of change. Initially, I think the customer's behavior is driving the change, the regulations are driving the change. But now I think COVID is demanding everything else, which is driving the change. And as our CEO rightly said, we've seen 2 years of digital transformation in 2 months. And that was really in the early days of COVID. And I think what actually happened is we have pivoted from I would say initially, a business continuity motion where you just have to be working from home. You just have to shut down your branches. You have to shut down many of your operations to pivot to everything digital. But I think beyond that business continuity now is what's next. I think that's where we're seeing our industries going forward into that whole journey of digitalization. We also did an interesting exercise in terms of the survey recently, before COVID and at COVID. So we interview about 340 organizations, and we have some of them, we classify them as FSI leaders in a chart here. And to no surprises, I think innovation is no longer an option. It becomes a necessity. And that's really one of the response back from our participants. And even with generic FSI customers, which is not in a leader category, over 70% of them really believe in this innovation as no longer an option. And if you look at the FSI leaders, 96% actually feels it is a necessity. And if you look at all segments, we also do survey among all industries, not just financial services. Even across all the segments, 74% of the sectors actually says that innovation is also no longer an option. And then when it comes to the pace of digitalization, right? When we said early on, we've seen digitalization already happening. I mean, I've been in Microsoft 8 years now, and my first discussion with our customers is really about digital transformation, and we're still talking about that today. But I would say, like, if you look at the survey responses, 6 out of 10 FSI organizations is basically accelerating that pace of digitalization, particularly in response to the crisis. And if you look at all segments, again, across all the industries, 68% of all the industries is also accelerating that digitalization journey. So, you think about that, innovation and digitalization is now really becoming a must-have. So what does it actually accelerate? When you think about the acceleration, we basically believe in different categories. I would say the first one is really on the demand for digital capabilities. And when we think about remote working, which is what we're doing, we're now connecting each other with virtually. And of course, we're also connecting with our colleagues, having all kinds of Teams meetings and project meetings and customer discussions remotely as well. And then very soon after remote working, we actually see a higher demand on remote selling and remote servicing. And we'll give you some examples of that. And then moving, as I say, you can't just do a front end without doing back end. So we also see a higher demand on automation in the industry scenarios. But at the same time, we're also not having, unlimited budget and resources to do all of that. So we actually are seeing a continuous pressure on cost reductions. And a lot of them is really on streamlining the internal operations and also bringing a lot of efficiency to the market. And the IT modernization, a lot of times, is really related to our legacies. and also some of the cloud adoption. We see a huge acceleration on cloud adoption because of the agility, also because of the resilience. I think in the earlier days, I remember last March or April, when we started off, the COVID impact, a lot of regulators are really asking us, how do we, or also asking our industries, how are we actually bringing the resiliency, and how are we actually going to bring that stress test and that operations becoming, the new normal, and how do you operate that? I think those becomes our top of mind to be able to survive and also to pivot how we're going to scale your operations when people are actually in a lockdown mode. And I would say in some of the FSI leaders, we also see new revenue and new operating model. I think that's where the innovation comes from. I also don't see that has been stopped. So people are actually more creative and more innovative. And also we see shorter time to market. I would say in the earlier days, people will still think about, a 2 years project or maybe even a longer term plan. I would say nowadays people are looking at a few months or even weeks to come up with a POC or come up with an MVP and bring new products and more time to market, quicker time to market, and also bring value to our customers in a very short period of time, and also allowing us to fail. I mean, in our industry, it's very interesting that failure is not an option, but I would say, obviously you don't want to fail all the time, but failing and learning and that being evolving, I think that's the culture that is being shifted. So I would say in that survey that we have done, the culture shift is quite important in our industry. And I would say the mindset is the biggest challenge in our industry before, because a lot of time technology can bring you agility, can bring you the time to market, but people are the one who actually are the main blockers. A lot of times when you think about transformation, it's all about change. And I think with COVID, everything has changed. People's changed, and also people accepting the change and willing to change. I think that's the greatest asset that we have today. And that combined with technology adoption, I think will help us weather through a lot of that crisis. So just one of the statistics will come through, like you look at Teams, right? We're running our event here in Teams. So when we look at the 6 months in, when we publish the statistics, we actually see more communications and fewer boundaries as the working environment is adjusting to the COVID. And 48% increase in Teams chat per person overall. So it's quite a bit. And we also see 55% increase in number of meetings and calls per week. And also after office hour, you can see fewer boundaries in the sense that more than double of the team users are actually sending after hours chats. And I don't know where you are, I'm actually in the nighttime, so I probably contribute to that as well. It's almost 10 o'clock in Hong Kong for Asia time zone. So people do actually work in very long hours and also connecting with very different time zone because of COVID, because of lockdown. And we actually see it in our team statistics. And we also see 69% more Teams chat per person after hours. So that's a huge, if you think about it, it's really, when you think about that, it's a whole group of people which never touch a keyboard after 5 p.m. That's just what we classify after hours, at 5 p.m. to midnight. They aren't doing it now at the pandemic. So you see that change of behavior is quite phenomenal. And the fact that we can now connect remotely in all kinds of time zone, all kinds of odd hours, is a change of the possibility of what actually we can bring to the market. So just give you some examples where we are seeing the pivot is when we started off remote working, the next really pivot is about remote selling. And in Hong Kong, you can see that both the regulators, the HKMA and also Insurance Authority, have changed the guidelines to allow remote selling because of the physical interaction is not possible, and also because of the social distancing. So they're allowing insurance products to be sold remotely and also virtually, and also allowing technology to be able to combine that, like some of the KYCs and authentications and security that can be using the technology to complement the lack of the physical interaction. So we've seen remote selling in both insurance, and also we're seeing that in the banking side, that you can actually do a lot of the after office hours, because traditionally you probably will be sitting in a Starbucks, selling the insurance product, which is no longer the case when the Starbucks are not open anymore. Now you can actually do a insurance product pitching at after hour or even after dinner, whenever your customers demands. And I think what actually changes now, the customers can demand hybrid. It's not saying that we are replacing our human agent. The human agent is never replaced. It's just empowered by technology. But the fact that we are allowing them to do it digitally is actually giving the customers the choice. And once you've given the customer the choice, there's no going back. So I think what's going to the new normal is going to be a hybrid world. We're going to have a combination of physical when we open up and going back to a little bit of digital and a combination of the both. The second pillar we see is, as I say, you can't really just do remote selling without the back office automation. So intelligent automation is really one of the hot topic as well that we've seen a lot of our customers adopting. So here's an example with one of our partner solution where they have actually looked at just a 7-people department in the loans department. We were able to find just with 4 weeks of discovery using technology like unstructured data and AI analytics, we were able to find gaps where we can automate, where there's a manual intervention, where there's a paper intervention. We were able to find 2,000 man hours in just a little of 4 weeks of discovery exercise and find a lot of savings and efficiency as well. The third one that we have seen is really the end-to-end customer journey, as we talked about. We can actually see a lot of the KYCs that we can do remotely. We can verify your picture. We can also validate your image of your self-image as well as your passport picture and authenticate that it's the same person. We can also do all kinds of product pitching with people who are your digital experts. So they can be anywhere. They can be sitting in London and you can be sitting in Hong Kong. You can connect the teams together and you can do a perfect pitch to the customer remotely using like Teams. And then you can also use AI to personalize the products. And you were able to tell me how much money I have in my bank balance, and you will be able to do my daily real-time best offer. So what is the next best offer for me, given the bank balance that I have today? And we have a lot of solutions to do that, and combining that, we can actually do an end-to-end customer journey. So this is some of the examples that we've seen how technology and innovation can help with the COVID. But speaking about SME, which is the topic of today, I'd just like to share with you one example which we have done with HSBC in Hong Kong, which is the launch of Vision Go. And it was actually launched at COVID. This is launched last March during the COVID time. And this is a B2B platform for SME. So it's really the idea is to connect the buyer and sellers in the SME markets from the HSBC perspective and create an e-marketplace where they can find each other. So it is something that any of the SME can book an event like this, doing a virtual event, and they can invite all the customers to come and understand the products, to find their buyers and sellers and do the matching. And obviously, if the SMEs are doing better in the business, obviously the bank will be doing better ultimately. This is a phase one that we have done in terms of launching the e-marketplace. The second phase that we've done is called Tap Me Up. So what we did as Microsoft is we are technology providers. So we actually help the SME to become digital. So we provided them devices, which is loaded with Teams and other collaboration tools, and also some of the partner solutions, which can help them pivot from physical branch or physical stores to the online e-commerce. So this is what we call the Tap Me Up. We actually empower them with technology so that they can weather through the COVID. The other thing that we have done for Vision Go as well as HSBC SME is on how we actually can connect some of the ERP system, which is in this case using the Microsoft Dynamics platform, which is for their SMEs market, and we integrate the two systems. So we actually allow us to integrate the POs, invoices, and into the HSBC net, and HSBC will be able to turn around and do a better cash forecasting for the SME markets. So this is another phase that we've done in terms of the SME markets for Hong Kong, just to give you an example, how technology such as cloud, such as CRM, and such as data and AI can empower the SMEs to be better and to have more visibility of cash and to be a better usage of cash. So ultimately, we believe the COVID will actually allow us to become a virtual. When we become a virtual marketplace, we actually can connect the ultimate customers, which is like your consumers, and then the bank, which is sitting in the middle, which is providing the services, and the SME, which could be the merchants, where they will be like a circle of light where they can really connect back to the consumers. So we believe that creating a marketplace like this with the technology can actually empower and uncover a lot of market opportunities, like the case of the Vision Go. And this is really where we're seeing the future. So from our perspective, I believe that we as a technology provider in the financial services, we believe that we can help our customer deepen the customer relationship by differentiating the solutions, by connecting the front, middle, and back office, and using the technologies such as cloud and data and AI to bring analytics and intelligence, of course, to be compliant with the regulations. So with that, I'll close up and going back to you with the organizer. Thank you for having me.
Connie, thank you so much for a wonderful insight that you brought as well on behalf of Microsoft as one of the key partners for banks to serve SMEs. So hopefully this has been one of the first occasion as well to have you among us and among the SME bankers. And we will find probably some next of the online sessions where we will definitely be very glad to use some of your expertise probably for further discussions. But I guess that probably at this time, since we are pushed by the winners and we are pushed by all the participants to see at the same time what has happened in the second category, I think we will be slightly moving on. We are slightly going already to the second category, which was the SME Bank of the Year 2020. What we have put here as one of the subtitles for SME Bank of the Year was obviously the support that banks has done during the critical year to support the SMEs in a time of crisis. We have selected 12 nominees, which and each of them has published an article on the Efma website during the beginning of November until the end of December. We try to always find the institution representing all the regions and some of those that has really showed a passionate approach towards SMEs and some of the outstanding best practices that they introduced in 2020 to support their clients. So here you can see in front of you all the 12 nominees. And again, during the voting process, we came up to top 3 winners and the finalists that I'm going to present to you right now. So in the category of SME Bank of the Year, the bronze award goes to Sberbank Russia, and the interview that we've done with Anna Leoskaya, who is representing a digital side of SME banking business. But the speech that we have received on behalf of Sberbank is going to be presented to all of you by Alexei Shashkin, who is the Managing Director of Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises in Sberbank.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, my name is Alexei Shashkin. I'm the head of SME division at Sberbank Russia, or Sber as we call it now. It's a great honor and pleasure for us to be among the winners of SME Banking Award for year 2020. And we are especially proud to appear among the winners in such valuable category as supporting SME customers in the time of crisis, because the internal vision of our division is to put customer at the heart of everything we do. The key priority of our team is to increase the efficiency of service for our customers, especially during challenging times, when support and help are especially needed by our clients. On behalf of Sber and from me personally, I would like to thank the award committee for choosing us as one of the winners, and we want to assure you that Sber SME division will continue providing best-in-class customer help and support everywhere we operate. Thank you very much.
Congrats once again to Sberbank Russia. Very glad that we could have them as well among the nominees in the 2020 SME Bank of the Year category. So again, as I mentioned in the first category, SME Bank of the Year, we have prepared as well trophies that will be given directly to the winners, but unfortunately this way only virtually. So all of them will be sent afterwards, after the ceremony, so they have at least a small memory of this occasion and of this virtual awards ceremony that we are organizing. In the category of SME Bank of the Year, let's go to the Silver Award winner. And the Silver Award for 2020 and the approach towards the SMEs goes to Standard Bank South Africa. And they are represented on this online session by Simone Cooper, who is the head of business banking. Simone, can you hear us and can you see us? Happy to have you with us.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And it's such an honor on behalf of Standard Bank to be recognized on this international stage for the relief efforts and the key initiatives that we put in place to assist small businesses to cope financially under this new normal that I think we're all trying to get our heads around. I'd firstly like to say a big thank you to Efma and to Mastercard for hosting such a prestigious event. Standard Bank truly believes that SMEs are the lifeblood of the economies in which we operate. So we are extremely proud to be associated with such a great initiative where there's great encouragement to support SMEs in amongst all of the banks around the world. I would also like to congratulate the other finalists in the category. I think reading some of the relief efforts and initiatives that the other banks have done around the world has been phenomenal. And I would also like to really thank the fantastic Standard Bank team. I know that the teams worked many hours and went above and beyond to make sure that we supported SMEs during this time of crisis. And I'm extremely proud to be part of that team. And finally, and most importantly, I would like to congratulate our clients and SMEs throughout this crisis. I think that running a small business is one of the toughest things that anybody can do. And during this 1 in 100 event, I think that I really have to take my hat off to the people that have managed to keep running their businesses during this tough time. So thank you very much for the honor, and we're very privileged to be part of this event.
Fantastic. Congrats once again, Simone. Congrats to Standard Bank South Africa. I'm sure that the award is in a great hands. And thanks again as well for the whole process that you put into the awards and into your support to SMEs in 2020. Now let's go to the gold award winner in the SME Bank of the Year category. So according to you, according to online voters and according to jury members, the best support in 2020 to SMEs was provided by Barclays Bank UK. And congrats to the winners. And we have here with us Ian Workman, who is the Managing Director and co-head of SME Business Bank.
Thank you to Lucas, to Efma and Mastercard, and everybody involved in the voting for voting Barclays into the gold position. You know, hearing from the other finalists, and I know from the other 12 nominees, that was a really tough crowd. And I think what it really demonstrates is how business banking across the globe has really come together to support that important SME sector during the pandemic. In many countries across the world, in particular and here in the UK, SMEs are very often described as the backbone of the economy. And that's because of the number of businesses, but also the number of people they employ and the importance they are in the wider supply chain. And therefore, it's really important to us at Barclays to ensure that during this pandemic, that we really leveraged the 1,000 relationship managers we have across the UK, together with the breadth and scale of the bank, to support those SME customers, and in particular to get the funding that they needed out to them and the UK government schemes that were there in a quickly and efficient way. And we did that through digital technology to really ensure that those money could be in people's bank accounts as quickly as possible. But it's far more than that. It was about actually working with the regulators, working with the industry, but also providing support to businesses when they needed it, and using those relationship managers to be there to talk to them about the issues they were facing. And so therefore, it's a real pleasure to see that work that thousands of colleagues have invested over the last 12 months to be recognised today. And thank you ever so much to everybody, and well done to all the finalists. I think it's just a great team effort from the industry in supporting SMEs across the globe. Thank you very much, Lucas. Really delighted.
Thank you very much, Ian, for being with us today and for joining some of the thank you words on behalf of Barclays Bank. So once again, congrats to all the 3 winners that we had in the SME Bank of the Year category. In a way, how they supported their SMEs when they needed the most during the crisis that hit all of us quite hard in 2020. We strongly hope that this support will obviously continue even for the years to come, despite probably the better situation or even with the better situation that we all hope for. Now, before we close up this award ceremony, congrats once again to all the winners. So just to recap, in the category of SME Banker of the Year, we had 3 winners representing the institution of TBC Bank Georgia in Nika Kurdiani, Rajeev Chalisgaonkar from Standard Chartered Bank Singapore, and the winner was Lori Darlington from Royal Bank of Canada. In the category of SME Bank of the Year, we had on the bronze award position Sberbank Russia, on the silver Standard Bank South Africa, and the gold winner was Barclays UK. Congrats once again to all the winners. Now, before we end up and close up this round of online ceremony, I had the pleasure to still welcome here two of the guests that we invited even prior to knowing the results. And the two guests to share some of the thoughts with you are Nika Kurdiani, once again, the Deputy CEO of TBC Bank Georgia, and Dennis Guven, the CEO of Mox Bank from Singapore. So hopefully right now, both of you, Nika and as well Dennis, are with us on the line. I'll give probably word firstly to Dennis, because obviously, the time zone allows us only to create such an event in probably, the best possible hour that is at least acceptable for all the regions. So you can imagine that Dennis, since he's based in Hong Kong, has already 10 p.m., if I'm not mistaken. Dennis, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you, Lucas. Thank you very much.
Dennis, yeah, there's quite already many years that you've been somehow connected with Efma, since your journey started in Garanti Bank in Turkey, all the way to Standard Chartered, and right now running the neobank Mox in Hong Kong. So, Dennis, I have a simple question. How we called actually this panel discussion or a short sharing was building a plane as you are taking off. We decided actually for this name, because we believe that, many times you have in mind a journey, what you imagine that your neobank is going to look like. You have obviously a clear path and clear reasons why you have introduced Mox Bank under the umbrella of Standard Chartered, but probably the journey has taken you in completely another direction that you have realized that you can achieve even more. And this is going to be the story of the two speakers that we have here, Dennis and Nika. So Dennis, I'm passing the word to you. Happy to hear the story of the Mox Bank.
Sure. Lucas, thank you very much, for inviting me. Good afternoon, to everyone in Europe, and also good evening, to the colleagues, who are in Asia. So I'm in Hong Kong, CEO of Mox Bank. As Lucas mentioned, I was part of, we are, part of Standard Chartered. I was in Standard Chartered, before Mox, and our journey, started, almost 2.5 years ago. And how we started this journey, it's I think there are different ways of starting the journeys, especially on challenger banks. For example, in UK, it was a different start. In Hong Kong, we started with the regulator body. They announced a new virtual banking licenses in Hong Kong, and at that point we decided to look at this opportunity. Many people they always ask me, Dennis, you are Standard Chartered, why do you believe that why did you believe that there is a need of this kind of a new bank in Hong Kong? Actually, Standard Chartered is very, very strong bank. We have a really strong franchise in Hong Kong. However, we ask two main questions to ourselves in the very beginning, and we ask the first question was, can we defend ourselves from non-traditional players with our existing operating model? And the second question was, can we attack this market or some other markets with our existing operating model? I think the answers were quite difficult. So at that point we decided to build something from scratch. But one of the most important thing is what is the definition of this virtual banks, challenger banks, neo banks, digital banks. People they use all these words everywhere. How I define a bit differently honestly. We didn't build a virtual bank. We didn't build a challenger bank. We built a future operating model for Standard Chartered. So I think that's the definition. And under this future operating model, we try to change and touch different areas to build something entirely digital, instead of just building another mobile app and pushing some marketing, pushing some pricing. It was such a journey. To be honest, we built a bank from scratch. I'm talking about entire banking systems, starting from reg reporting to liquidity to treasury to financial ledger to product ledger. We built a bank from scratch in 530 or 40 days. It was really tough, to build, something, from scratch, because, we revisited a lot of different areas like, risk, AML, FCC, all these areas, starting from framework, to standards. We tried, we tried, revisit, all these areas. We launched the bank 154 days ago. So last September. Today, Mox Bank has more than 80,000 customers. I'm sure 80,000 customers. Sometimes it doesn't sound like big, but in Hong Kong, our population is 7.4 million. So in 4 months' time, Mox reached 1% of the entire population. There are a lot of developments on our side. So more than 80,000 customers. It's just a start. We are going to have many customers in Hong Kong, but there are some interesting areas that we are seeing. Right now, Mox has the highest rates on App Store, also the Android Play. So we got 4.8 stars on Apple Store, which is the highest score in Hong Kong for financial industry. And so also there are some the other thing is really interesting that I want to share with you. Starting from day one, we wanted to build something quite different. And I remember in the early days, I put a KPI to the Mox Bank staff that can we onboard our customers in less than 4 minutes, and that was a target like 3 minutes 46 seconds. A month ago, one of our customers, he onboarded himself in 2 minutes 47 seconds to Mox Bank. So why I'm sharing this, so imagine in less than 3 minutes you can open a bank account without visiting any branch. And it's not only bank account, it's more than that. You can get your card, you can activate your card, you can sync it with Apple Pay, Google Pay, and everything, and you can start to buy something online, and you can do transactions, you can start to save, you can do all, you can reach a lot of different features in minutes. I think that was our dream in the beginning. Today we can onboard our customers very fastly. On the other hand, of course, we have saving product right now. We have our card, and there will be new products and services as well. At the same time, we are trying to support the ecosystem. One of the most important points of Mox Bank, we have JV partners. 35% of the company, the bank is owned by our JV partners. 65% is owned by Standard Chartered. 25% is owned by Hong Kong Telecom PCCW, and 9.9% is owned by Trip.com. So our JV partners are super important for us. Again, starting from day one, we believe that we are going to grow with our partners and the ecosystem. JV partners, they're helping us to create different type of distribution channels. Plus, we are building services, together to reach out the different, customer bases and to touch the daily life of the customers in Hong Kong. We are working with, some, different, merchants in Hong Kong. We call them funding merchants. Starting from September, we got more than 35 funding merchants that they are part of our business, and they help us, in a different way. We are not using them, just to give, some rebates. We market, Mox Bank and Mox services, all together to their customer base, also, to our customer base, together. We also, support, a lot of, different areas, the local, merchants. in Hong Kong, with Generation Mox campaign. Lucas, this is my summary. It's a new bank in Hong Kong. We are focusing on we have a laser focus to Hong Kong right now. But whatever we built in Hong Kong, it's 75% portable. This is a public data. We will try the same similar thing in Singapore very soon, which you will see. And Mox Bank is a entirely native cloud-based bank. We don't have any servers. We are on the cloud entirely. I think that's my summary, and I think the last point, Lucas, I can share, because I think you talk about the theme of this conversation. The most important thing is we are trying this kind of new operating models, because I also believe the plane analogy. You cannot change the engines of your plane while it's flying, right? It's really difficult. And big banks, big organizations, they are flying, and it's really difficult to change their engines on the fly. So that's why you have to find some other ways to attack the markets, or create some new operating models to try and to see how can you disrupt the markets, or create some different services for the customers. That's why we have Mox today.
So when it comes to the SME market, thank you so much again, Dennis, for sharing. But when it comes to the SME segment or SME market, what are your plans probably even to penetrate probably for the future, the market that everybody is just dreaming of, China, and probably a bit compete with the guys like Alipay in the market, or VBank?
I think SME market, there are some different pain points in SME banking, especially in Hong Kong. It's not only on the payment base. I'm not only thinking about the merchant base solutions. There are some other ways that you can help SMEs. In Hong Kong, when I look at the major SME pain points, I think there's still a huge potential for the new banks that we can disrupt the market. We have some plans, but again right now our entire focus is retail banking. But you never know, right? In the future we can jump there as well.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dennis. Once again, I'm glad that you mentioned you never know, because this is important even for the next insights that we are going to gain from Nika. I know that in TBC Bank Georgia, they have introduced an agile working model, not just in the SME segment, but as well in all the departments within the last, I think, 2 years. But at the same time, they decided to launch a neobank for SME customers that purely works digitally, called Space. It was launched in Georgia, and later on even in Germany, to penetrate the European market. And on the journey, they have realized that they have probably the power to go even beyond and started another bank, a digital bank that seems to be very soon a leader in Uzbekistan market. So Nika, can you share a bit more on the journey and I think a real example of again how you are building a plane while you are taking off?
Yeah, that was a very good analogy, Lucas. Thanks, and Denise, congrats on your launch. You're not even 1 year old, and you have already 80,000 customers, so it's a lot. We launched 2.5 years ago, basically in Georgia. As I mentioned before, TBC Bank in Georgia is the biggest bank in almost all parameters. So we have in SME, we have around 40% of the market share. In retail, we have around 45. I don't remember exactly, but it's about 40. And then basically we are present in all segments, and basically we didn't have any challenge of other bigger fintechs coming in, because Georgia is a small country. The population is 3.7 million people. So we were just looking out of Georgia's boundaries and thinking, what is next to come. And this plane analogy is very good, because TBC, again, it's an established institution with many systems, the architecture, technological architecture. which it has. It's quite advanced, but still it serves many segments and different sophistication. It's not cloud-based, and basically what we said is why don't we start and venture into a fully digital value proposition, where basically we will build the neobank based on Amazon Web Services, using third-party providers fully, and the only thing we're going to be insourcing in terms of doing ourselves is the front-end solution. All the rest basically will be built on other providers. And why don't we try to compete on the target segments, digital savvy, younger generation target segments, with our own institution? Basically, we were quite successful in Georgia, and we are still. We achieved more than 1 million downloads, basically in a year and a half time. Initially, another success was that we launched the whole thing from the board decision, basically, until the very launch in 8 months. And then in a year and a half time, we had already almost 1 million downloads. Currently, we have 250,000 customers, which for Georgia is quite a lot because of the size of the country and very high penetration of banking services. However, this was the initial idea, but again, when you go exploring, you never understand what the thing may grow into, right? So our initiative, which we called in Georgia, branded in Georgia as Space Neobank, suddenly became a digital banking platform, where basically TBC Group decided to use it for its international expansion. And the very recent example, and actually where I'm talking to you now from, is Tashkent, Uzbekistan. Uzbekistan is the biggest Central Asian country with a population of 34 million people. And we launched in October this year, commercially, we had the launch. And we already have approximately 50,000 downloads. And basically, it has been very successful. The bank here is fully digital. We don't have one single person running any process. And it's the same platform. We just branded here in Uzbekistan as TBC. But it's exactly the same interface, same platform as Space Digital Banking Platform. So we can easily say that Space Digital Banking Platform is already present in 2 countries, and in other countries, hopefully, are coming up. As I said, this plain analogy is very cool because you don't have to build on top of what you have already in a bank, in an institution. Where you are an established institution, you basically have to think what is the purpose, what is the goal, and then find various ways to that. In our case, we managed to say no, basically, to the existing architecture, to the existing solutions, and try to explore the possibilities of starting something from the very scratch, from really absolutely zero. We didn't have anything. We even basically located the team in another office so that they do not have any influence from the current organization. And in absolutely small period of time, we managed to onboard the first customer. In our case, in Georgia, as well as in Uzbekistan, onboarding goes fully online. In Georgia, we also spent several minutes, and in Uzbekistan, basically, we also spent several minutes. There is now the regulation finally coming up, which will fully abandon the offline process. Now we just have to verify the customer physically, as in some regional market, but the customer does everything online from home. However, the critical point, to think about the critical points, I think the regulation is very critical, and the readiness of the market to support these kind of initiatives. Denise mentioned that in Hong Kong, they had the banking license, which allowed this kind of startups. In Georgia, for instance, and in Uzbekistan, the onboarding process have been eased quite much. In Georgia, it's fully online, basically. You don't need to see the customer. In Uzbekistan, it's just one thing remaining, which is physically to see the customer and verify, and then basically the app can be activated. However, everything is being done online. And I think if the regulations allow, if the regulations are towards digitalization of the banking industry, then basically, many creative things can be developed. When we talk about the competition from other fintechs, you know, I think here, of course, in bigger markets, the competition is there, and the competition is coming in. Uzbekistan is big market enough for other fintechs to come in. We already have some competition locally, and then, for instance, some Russian players, as I understood, are targeting this market specifically. However, again, you know, it's not about that you have to be a fintech, you know, an independent startup to be successful in this digital war, so to say. In my opinion, TBC in Georgia is itself quite much a technology company. Basically, almost all processes in the bank itself are done digitally. For SMEs, we in 5 minutes, literally 5 minutes, we managed to, on a remote basis, to open an account, to activate internet and mobile banking, to order a corporate card payment, and this happens in 5 minutes. Or, for instance, for private individuals, it takes literally 90 seconds. This is how we position the message, so minute and a half to open an account. So in this regard, you know, when an incumbent bank basically comes up with an approach that services have to be streamlined, you know, made seamless, or made, I don't know, super quick, and with as less possible human intervention, and to use the human kind of force only in those places where the customer appreciates them, then I think, you know, the competition can be managed, and competition from the fintech. So in that regard, I always say, you know, a traditional bank can also become fintech if it wants to. So our story basically is that, to come back to base, is that basically we transformed the initially launched neobank in Georgia into a digital banking platform, which exists already for 2.5 years and is already present in 2 countries, and basically serves approximately 300,000, if you take these 2 countries together, 1,000 customers. And yes, our ambition is to grow it further, because on a group level, we say that we have to have in several years 10 million users, and basically in Georgia the population is 3.7. So there are more markets coming up, hopefully. But the first expansion basically has been in Uzbekistan, and this expansion happened with our startup launched 2 years ago, which was fully digital neobank space. So this is, Lucas, a quick summary from my side.
Thank you again, Nika, for joining us and for hearing the wonderful story that TBC Bank Georgia has undertaken, not just in Georgian market, but as well in European. Hopefully, we will see you very soon interrupting some of the leading markets as well globally with the wonderful ideas that you have. So thank you again for all the speakers. Congrats to all the winners of this first initial year of SME Banking Awards that were organized by Efma and Mastercard. And before we close it up, I want to just dedicate probably one last message, one last minute, or even a couple of minutes to, once again, John, our CEO of Efma, who took the role since April, as I mentioned, and for the moment is driving Efma to the new horizons and new boundaries that probably we still don't know what we are going to achieve. So, John.
Thank you, Lucas. Let me first of all congratulate you and the Efma team for putting on the event. I think when you do the first of these events, it's always challenging, but I think you'll find the feedback is extremely strong. Very good content. Particular congratulations to Lori at RBC for the SME Banker of the Year award. Well deserved. Also delighted to see that Barclays were the winners of the SME Bank of the Year, so congratulations there as well. I think also we've seen and heard from some good insights, particularly from Mastercard and from Microsoft, real excellent insights which hopefully add value to the attendees and we can build on in the months ahead. Certainly as far as Efma is concerned, 2020 was a tough year. We've undertaken a complete review of our strategy, developed something very different now in our value proposition. And I think SME is a good example of how that's working out successfully around the globe. And it's great to have so many people from different markets involved in such an event. So it's not just a Western European environment, it's one that's drawn expertise from around the globe. And I think everybody should be congratulated on the work they've done in a tremendously difficult world. COVID has really made life so difficult for so many people. So all the bankers tuned in should be congratulated for the work they've done in helping small business communities in their marketplaces not only survive and develop for their own customers, but as a result of that, help them and their local economies along the way. So congratulations to everybody. Thank you, Lucas, for all your hard work. And we look forward to seeing the same thing again 12 months from now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, John, for as well your support and the overall contribution to everything what we are doing at EFMA. Putting community first is, at least from my perspective and from the perspective of many members, probably the next future what EFMA can bring. The SME banking was one of the first one that we introduced, and hopefully we will apply the similar concept of community-based approach, events that are organized among the people and colleagues and peers across the world in the first way, and the different initiatives that can really run and drive the innovation spirit and innovation drive of the banks. So that has been 2020 year, and our SME banking program, our SME banking community. We've tried to bring you new content, new initiatives, and obviously as well somehow fine-tune it with peer-to-peer meetings across different geographies. And we strongly believe that this awards has somehow summarized the whole 2020 initiatives and all the effort that we try to put in building the SME banking community. We strongly hope that in 2021 we will still have your approach and proactive way on being involved in this community, being with us, with EFMA, and being with us as well with our partners as MasterCard was. Thank you once again on behalf of EFMA and MasterCard for joining us either as participants or active speakers, or at the same time as nominees, submitters, or whoever actually was somehow involved in the 2020 effort to deliver probably the best possible experience to all our members within the SME banking community. Stay tuned, because starting from March, we are preparing all the new initiatives. Apologies if there has been, any difficulties with this online meeting, since this is the very first time we tried as well the Microsoft Teams live event. That was introduced just very recently, and we wanted to be the guinea pigs of this, to try it and to test whether it might be the right platform as well for the online events. It seems to be working well. It's just, a couple of the last fine-tuning that we need to do for the next time. So again, apologies for that, but we strongly hope that we have enjoyed a wonderful event and a great insights from all the speakers. Thank you so much. Congrats to the winners, and stay tuned for everything what's going to happen. Have a great day and stay safe.